All right, guys, welcome to the training on telephone prospecting. In this training, we're going to be going over a very simple appointment script that I have been teaching for years. Probably thousands of people, well, definitely thousands of people, probably tens of thousands of people have been trained on this all across the United States and some over in Europe as well. And this pitch works extremely well, better than any appointment script that I have ever seen in my life. And if you use it, you are going to have more people to present to, which is coming up in the next video, than you can ever imagine. Okay, but you have to go out there and do it. I mean, that's just the bottom line. So there's a number of different ways that we can do this. And by the way, I may sound a little different because when I am doing any kind of appointment stuff or telephone stuff or whatever, I have to move around. So I'm on a headset right now. So if I sound a little different, that's why. And I suggest you do the same thing. If we move around when we're on the telephone, we tend to have more emotion in the way that we speak, and we use our tonality and our pacing a lot better. So you're going to want to move around. If you don't have a headset, that's fine. But if you do, you should probably use it when you're calling people. There's a number of different ways that we could do this. If you use the email first, we're going to change the script a little bit. If we didn't use the email first and all you're going to do is call the people, then we can use it as it's written. So I'm going to skip the first line and go to the second one. Great reason for the call is we help businesses generate more revenue from the internet. I could say, great, the reason for the call is I sent you an email a couple days back. I don't know if you quite, remember, or you got it, or you read it, or whatever, but, and then we go on from there, right? So that kind of gives us, I explained that in the email video. It kind of gives us a reason to call them, and that definitely helps if you want to use that. So it really depends, all right? I'm going to assume that we're just going to go straight telephone here, right? And we're going to go, right into it. So if you use the email, that's the only thing you're going to change in the entire thing. The rest of it, you're going to say exactly word for word what is on the screen, all right? The only other thing that you would change, that's not necessarily true. The only other thing that you're going to change is maybe Tuesday or Thursday, right? So if you're calling somebody on a Tuesday, you're not going to say Tuesday or Thursday. You're going to say Wednesday or Friday or whatever. So the days that you book appointments will change depending on the day that you're actually using the telephone to prospect, all right? So the rest of it is going to be exactly the same. Okay, so I'm going to read through this quickly, and then I'm going to go through how to say it, because what you say is not really all that important, although I do want you reading directly from a piece of paper. Every great salesperson on the telephone does read directly from a piece of paper, but I want you to focus more on how to say the words, because how you say it is much more important, okay? The only reason why we focus on reading from a piece of paper is because that's what helps us determine where the problems are. So if you're getting hung up on or whatever, right in the beginning of a script, and you're all saying different things, or you're saying different things on every call, then there's no way I can help you fix that. But if you're saying the same thing on every call, and you're getting hung up on every call or every other call or whatever, you're having problems getting through to people, then I can help you with that one line. Right? There are some people that are going to have a problem with the bottom of the script. Well, if that's the case and you're saying the same thing over and over and over again and you're having problems, then I can help you with that. If you're saying a different thing every time, then I can't help you. It's kind of like if you're familiar with like the internet marketing thing, which I'm sure a lot of you are. But if you ever heard the term like split testing things, right? It would be stupid to split test 25 things on a sales page at one time. Right? We've been taught forever to split test one thing at a time, because that's where we can gauge where the problems are if we do it that way, right? And we can try to find the best headline or the best video or the best color scheme or whatever. Same thing goes with a telephone script. If you're saying a different thing every time, then there's no way for me to know what the problem is. But if you're saying the same thing every time, then I know exactly what the problem is and I can fix it very easily. Okay? So let's read through this really quickly. Hey, this is Kenny from XYZ Marketing Company out in New York. Can you hear me okay? Great. The reason for the call is we help businesses generate more revenue from the internet. Just want to see if you had 5 minutes, maybe Tuesday or Thursday, so I could share an idea with you. Perfect. Now, just a couple quick questions to make sure it would be a good fit. You're advertising on the internet right now, right? Yes, I am. Okay, great. How's that going for you? Let them talk a little bit, and then you're going to react a little bit. I want to stop here for a second because we have to make sure that we stay on the page, okay? Your job is to stay on the paper. The prospect's job is to get you off of the paper, all right? The death of a salesman is when somebody goes, oh, you're calling from New York? I have a cousin that lives there. And then you talk 25 minutes about New York, right? That's stupid. That's a waste of time. So we want to make sure that we acknowledge what they say, but we get back onto the page as quickly as possible. So if somebody says, yeah, I'm advertising on the internet right now, and I'm using Facebook ads, and it's not going that well. I'm going to say something like, oh, yeah, I hear that a lot from people. Usually it's a quick fix, but most of the time, especially with small businesses, they have a problem, especially if they're doing it themselves. Then I go right back into the piece of paper, right? I'm not going to go on to a 25-minute tangent on how to run Facebook ads. That would be dumb. I'm going to go right back onto the piece of paper. So we want to acknowledge what they say and react quickly, and then, so let me ask you this, all right? Right back onto the next line. So let me ask you this. If I was able to show you where you can get 20 to 30 new customers per week without having to invest any new money whatsoever, you'd at least be willing to listen, right? Great. What day works better for you, Tuesday or Thursday? Tuesday. Perfect. I got some time around 2:15. Does that sound good? Yes. One last thing before I let you go. Just so we're on the same page, on Tuesday at 2:15, I'm going to send you over some information about myself and my company. What's your best email address? abc123@gmail.com. Okay, perfect. I'll see you on Tuesday at 2:15. Okay? That's how it should go. It's never really going to go that way, but that's kind of how it should go, with zero resistance whatsoever. Now, are we ever going to get zero resistance? Yes, but it depends on how you define resistance, right? If somebody asks me a question about something, I don't see that as a problem. If somebody says, well, Tuesday and Thursday are no good for me because I got these meetings and that meetings and this going on and that going on, I can't do it on Tuesday. That's not resistance, right? Resistance is, shut up, I don't want to talk to you. Like, are you going to hear that often? Not really, okay? You're really not. You are going to hear it every once in a while, but you're not going to hear it very often. So a couple of things I want to point out real quick. What are the two biggest objections that you think you'll hear on a script like this when it comes to an appointment or whatever? Most of the time, people are either going to say, you know what, just send me something, right? Or they're going to say, I don't have time right now. I'm real busy. You called me at a bad time. We hear that all the time, right? And then the stupid people who have no idea what they're talking about, who have never picked up a phone in their life and are just trying to teach you something, will do like, well, let's do a verbal contract. And let's say if you give me 30 seconds and I don't live up to my, dude, just please go. Walmart's hiring, I promise. Don't ever do that. That's ridiculously stupid, okay? Here's what I want you to think about when you're on the phone. This is the mindset that you must have, all right? The mindset that you must have is you're like the president of the United States, okay? Now, love him, hate him, in the middle. I don't care about that. But I want you to think about, like, what would the president do? Because if you think like that, then basically what your mindset is I have the most important thing in the world for you. You can't blow me off. I'm the most important person in your life right now. Okay, now, is that true? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But the bottom line is that when we're doing the Google review stuff, which is what we're talking about in this training, I know for a fact that if businesses do not have reviews, A, or B, have bad ones, they have a huge problem. And that problem is only going to get worse day after day after day after day. And the longer you wait to fix it, the harder it's going to become to fix it. Because if you get up to the area where you have 10, 15, or 20 one-star reviews, fixing that is a freaking nightmare. If you have one one-star review, one 5-star review, and you're at like a 3.5, we can fix that in days. But if you have 10 or 15 or 20 one-star reviews and 3 or 4 or 5-star reviews, that's going to be a nightmare to fix. So let's nip it in the bud and fix it now. So at this point in time, I believe that I'm the most important person in the world. If he tries to blow me off, I'm not going to let him. Now, how am I going to do that, right? There's two ways to do it. I'm going to show you how right now. Read the last line of the script, second to last paragraph, actually, not the last line. The last line is perfect. I'll talk to you on Tuesday. The second to last line of the paragraph says, great, one last thing before I let you go. Just so we're on the same page on Tuesday, I'm going to send you out some information about myself and my company. What's your best email address? If I open up the call and I say, hey, this is Kenny from XYZ Marketing Company out in New York. Can you hear me okay? Yes. I'm real busy right now. What do you need? Well, the reason why I'm calling is because we help businesses like yours generate more revenue on the internet. Why don't you just send me something? What am I going to do? I'm going to hop down here and I'm going to say, perfect. I'm going to send you a lot of information about myself and my company, tell you exactly what we do. What's your best email address? He's going to give me his email address, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, great. Your email address is abc123@gmail.com. Perfect. Just want to see if you had 5 minutes, maybe Tuesday or Thursday, so I could share an idea with you. What day's better? Right? And then I'm going to go right back into the paper. Okay, so this last line is really, it's very important that we get that, by the way. But the last line is really an answer to an objection that most likely will happen right away. All right, now the other objection that we have is we don't have a lot of time, right? So, I'm real busy right now, man. You caught me at a bad time. The truth of the matter is this. If somebody picks up the telephone, they have enough time to get through this piece of paper with you. All right? They're lying to you. Okay? Now, do they have a half hour to talk to you? Probably not. Are we looking for that? No, we're looking for 5 seconds, right? This script is very quick to get through. It's not that hard. But they're going to say it all the time. It's a bad time. I got a meeting. I got people in my office. But most of the time, that's BS. They're trying to blow you off, get you off the phone. So what you want to say is what's on your screen. What I usually like to add one word to that. Perfect. Okay, because it kind of like, my personality might be different than yours, though. It kind of almost mocks them a little bit. So, and again, that might be right for you. It might be wrong for you. I don't know. And you can use it if you want. So if I pick up the phone and I say, hey, this is Kenny from XYZ Marketing Company out in New York. Can you hear me okay? And they're like, yeah, but I'm real busy right now. Perfect is what I'm going to say first. Okay. And then I'm just going to say, it's funny you say that. That's exactly why I'm calling you. Believe me, I would never expect you to be interested after a 5-minute phone call. And then I'm going to go right into the just want to share an idea with you Tuesday or Thursday thing. Okay? So no matter what they say, you can use this line. And the other thing, too, is no matter what the objection is, you can use this, right? So if somebody says, I gotta talk to my wife before I do anything like this or whatever. Perfect. I would never expect you to make a decision like this without talking to your wife first. And that's exactly why I'm calling you. Tuesday or Thursday, 5 minutes so I can share an idea. See how that works? All right, I don't have the money right now, which is a terrible, terrible, terrible objection because it's a prospecting issue, not a sales issue. But if somebody says for some reason, I don't have the money or whatever, like I'm trying to think of objections because they very rarely come up when I'm on the phone because I know how to prospect so well. But I'm trying to think of as many as I possibly can. I don't have enough. I don't have the money. Right? Some reason somebody says on an appointment call, which literally never happens. But let's say they do. Perfect. It's funny you say that. That's exactly why I was calling you today. Believe me, I would never expect you to have the money available right now. So how about we do this? How about we meet Tuesday or Thursday at 2:15 so I could share an idea with you? It'll only take 30 seconds. Okay? A rocket went through my roof and my house is on fire. Perfect. It's funny you say that. That's exactly why I'm calling you. Believe me, I'd never expect you to do anything with me right now with a rocket sticking through the top of your house and your house on fire. That's why I wanted to meet you Tuesday or Thursday for 5 minutes so I could share an idea with you. My dog just died. Perfect. It's funny you say that. That's exactly why I was calling you. I would never expect you to do anything with me on the telephone right now with your dog laying dead in your lap. That's why I wanted to see if you could meet Tuesday or Thursday so I could share an idea with you. Literally, no matter what they say, this is the answer to the objection. Okay? And when we have our Q&A coming up, the registration links are all over here. Any person in this group, any one of you, raise your hand. I'll open up your microphone, and you can throw any objection you want out at me. And I guarantee you right now, I'll overcome it. Live in front of everybody, I will overcome it. There is not an objection in the world that I can't overcome. Okay? I've been doing this for 23 years now. Strictly telephone stuff. That's what we're talking about now, right? This is where I shine. This is my bread and butter. The email stuff I'm good at. I can handle it, but that's not my thing, right? Facebook messaging, I can handle it, but it's not my thing. Door-to-door, in person, I can handle it, not my thing. The telephone is where I shine. That's where I've made 90% of the money that I have. Okay, so this is where it's at. So you come to me on that Q&A we're having. Registration links are all over the page. If you haven't registered yet, do it now. But you come to me on that Q&A, you raise your hand, you open up your microphone. I will take you could say whatever you want. It doesn't matter because I've heard them all. I've heard everything imaginable. everything imaginable. I've cold called people that were dead, flipped around the new owner of the home, and sold the new owner of the home the stock that I was trying to sell the dead guy. Okay, that was back in the stock business. I did that twice, actually. So it doesn't matter. The objection doesn't matter. I can overcome anything. And I'm not saying that just to brag. I'm calling myself out. I'm telling you to call me out. I'm telling you to come to the Q&A and tell me anything you want to tell me, any objection in the world. I'll open up your microphone live in front of everybody else, and I will answer whatever objection that you have and teach you how to overcome it. So let's talk about how to actually say the words, because this is really, really important. More important than the actual words that you say. So the first line there, hey, this is Kenny from XYZ Marketing Company out in New York. Can you hear me okay? Just like that, okay? Hey, this is Kenny from XYZ Marketing Company out in New York. Can you hear me okay? Just like that, okay? Hey, this is Kenny from XYZ Marketing Company out in New York. Can you hear me okay? Just like that. All right, I'm going to say it over and over and over again so you understand. Hey, this is Kenny from XYZ Marketing Company out in New York. Can you hear me okay? That's how you open up a call. It's not, hey, this is Kenny from XYZ Marketing Company out in New York. Can you hear me okay? That's not how you do it. It's not, hello, this is Kenny Cannon from XYZ Marketing Company out in New York. How you doing? No, that's not what we say. Okay, why don't we say how you doing? We don't say how you doing because either they're going to lie to us or they're going to tell us they're miserable. Most people are miserable. All right? I hate to be like a downer, but that's just the fact. Most people are miserable. Please understand that, okay? So, you may not be. I certainly am not miserable, but most people are, right? If you're calling a guy who consciously made a decision, think about this for a second. You're calling a person who consciously made a decision to work in sewage all day, a plumber, right? And fix pipe. Do you think he's like loving life? He may not be like suicidal, but he's not at the top of the mountain like screaming and like having the best. That's just not the case for most people. And I don't care what somebody does for a living. Most of the time, they're not overly happy. Okay? Again, maybe they're not suicidal, but they're not overly happy. So most people are not happy. We have to understand that. So if I ask someone, how you doing today? What are they going to say? They're either going to say, great, how are you? They're lying to me. And I'm starting the relationship off on a lie. We talked about it in the emailing part. We do not want to have lies in our relationship. Ever. Ever. From your end or their end. Okay? It kills the relationship, no matter what it is. You never want to have that. So I've been preaching this for years and decades. Over 10 years. Never, ever, ever ask how you doing, because they're going to say, great, how are you? That's a lie. Or they're going to say, terrible. My life sucks, man. I consciously made a decision to work in sewage all day. My life is shitty. Literally shitty, right? So if they say that, then what happens? Now I'm stuck in a call where I'm dealing with someone who just told me his life is terrible. Or, I say, how you doing today? And they say, well, what do you think, man? I'm in Tampa, Florida. It's 115 degrees, and I'm laying driveways. How do you think I feel? How do you think it? And let me tell you something. You'll get responses like that. All right? Either you're going to get great, which is the most common, or you're going to get terrible, which is also very common. But either way, you're not starting off the call on the right foot. So I totally cut it off, and I say, can you hear me okay? What am I going to get? Most of the time I'm going to get, yeah, I can hear you. What's up? Like 99% of the time. Yeah, I can hear you. What's going on? Or they're just going to say, yeah, I can hear you. And they're just going to continue on. Okay? So it cuts out that awkwardness at the beginning of the call. So, hey, this is Kenny from XYZ Marketing Company out in New York. Can you hear me okay? Done. All right? Next line. Yeah, I can hear you. What's up? Next line. Great. Reason for the call is we help businesses generate more revenue from the internet. That's the next line. Okay? Great. Reason for the call. There's a switch there. Great. Reason for the call is we help businesses generate more revenue from the internet. Great. Reason for the call is we help businesses generate more revenue. Notice the switch. The switch is vital. Okay? And I know you don't think it's that big of a deal, but it is. Over the course of thousands, hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of calls, it's a big deal. 1% is a big deal over thousands of calls. All right. So if I say, hey, this is Kenny from XYZ Marketing Company out in New York. Can you hear me okay? And they're like, yes, I can hear you. What's up? And I say, great. The reason for the call is we help businesses generate more revenue from the internet. That's terrible. Okay. Is it going to work? Is it the difference between you booking an appointment and not booking an appointment? No. But over the course of 10,000 calls, if you can get 1% more people to say yes to you because you nailed tonality on that second line, that's a big number, right? I don't know what it is. I'll get my calculator out. Over the course of 10,000 calls, if you can get 1% more people to say yes to you, that's 100 more appointments. That's 100 more appointments. And there's like 25 different points where we're going to do tonal pattern switches on this piece of paper. If you nail all 25 of them, this is why we could book appointments at 30 to 35, sometimes 40%, because we know how to nail every single point. Now, are you going to nail every single point in the beginning? No, that's why you're going to be at 10%, 8%, 12%. That's okay. You'll survive on that. But if you can get 30 or 40, why not learn how to do it, right? And all of them are going to be in this video, so don't worry about it. All right, so great. The reason for the call is we help businesses generate more revenue from the internet. Great. The reason for the call is we help businesses generate more revenue from the internet. And then we're going to move on to another switch, which is just want to see if you had 5 minutes. Okay, it's kind of like, yes, your mom, dad, brother, sister, wife, whoever, what family member. If you could borrow $1, right? It's not like, okay, let's use a brother, for example. It's not like, let's say your brother's name is Joe, right? It's not like, Joe, I'm going to come over later. I got to sit down and talk to you. It's, going through a little bit of a tough time. I just want to sit down and talk to you and bounce a couple ideas off you. All right, yeah, no problem, man. Come on over. I'll have coffee ready, whatever. You go to Joe's house, you sit down. It's your brother. Listen, man, it's been tough. Work is really, really bad, and they're cutting my hours. They cut my benefits, and, Cindy and the kids are starving to death at home, and everything's a real big problem. Really the reason why I came here was to see if you had $1 I could borrow. That's not how is that how we do it? If we have to borrow $1 from our brother, is that how we do it? The answer is no. What we do is we say, Joe, you got $1? It's no big deal. It's like, whatever. Joe, you got $1? Right? No, it's not a big deal. We don't sit down and explain as to why we, and we're using the same type of pattern here. We're saying, just want to see if you had 5 minutes. I'm not asking you for 6 hours. I'm not asking you to go on a trip with me to Bermuda so we can talk about it. Just want to see if you had 5 minutes. Okay? So I'm saying, great. Reason for the call is we help businesses generate more revenue from the internet. Just want to see if you had 5 minutes, maybe Tuesday or Thursday, so I could share an idea with you. Okay? Just want to see if you had 5 minutes. Switch. Maybe Tuesday or Thursday. Switch, so I could share an idea with you. Okay? Just want to see if you had 5 minutes, maybe Tuesday or Thursday, so I could share an idea. So it's no big deal. Just want to see if you had 5 minutes to a question, maybe Tuesday or Thursday, to hammering at home so I could share an idea with you. Okay? Just want to see if you had 5 minutes, maybe Tuesday or Thursday, so I could share an idea with you. That's perfection when it comes to tonality in that line. And also pacing and structure too. Okay, next. We're going to go back to the whole certainty. Perfect. Perfect. Great and perfect are the same. So when I say great in that second line, it's great. The reason for the call is we help businesses generate more revenue from the internet. It's great, like awesome, right? Perfect is the same thing, but the switch is different. When I do great and the reason for the call, what I'm doing is great and then scarcity. Okay, I'm doing great. The reason for the call is we help businesses generate more revenue from the internet. Just want to see if you had 5 minutes, maybe Tuesday or Thursday, so I could share an idea with you. Okay, that's perfection. And then what happens is when we do perfect, we're going to use the same tonal pattern as we did when we said great, but the switch is going to be from certainty, perfect, to no big deal again. Okay, so it's going to be perfect. Now, just want to see if you had, just want to ask you a couple of questions to see if it would be a good fit. Okay, so it's perfect. Now, just a couple quick questions to make sure it would be a good fit. So that is the same as just want to see if you had 5 minutes. That's why I screwed it up there, right? Because I was getting the two mixed up. But it's the same tonality as the top one where it says just want to see if you had 5 minutes. You're going to use the same tone and pace on that perfect line. So perfect. Now, just a couple quick questions to make sure it will be a good fit. Now, we're not going to wait for him to answer there. One big mistake that a lot of amateurs make, and listen, I just call it like I see it, right? Most of the people out there that are training people on sales they don't know what the hell they're doing. I mean, it is what it is. I don't know anybody. I really don't. And if you could point somebody out, please do. I don't know anybody who openly says anyone out there who comes to the Q&A can open up their microphone, hit me with any objection in the world in front of a group of 500 people, and I will answer it live for you. I don't know anybody that does that. I really don't. Nobody. Because they can't. Because they're not on the phone every day. I am. Every single morning. I am. Okay? So, we're not going to ask them. You have 30 seconds to share an idea. You have 30 seconds to answer these questions. I have a couple questions. Do you mind spending a minute with me to answer? We're not going to ask them any of that stuff. We're just going to say we got a couple questions to see if it will be a good fit. Question number 1, question number 2, question number 3, move on. Very, very simple. Okay, so perfect. Now, just a couple quick questions to make sure it will be a good fit. You're advertising on the internet right now, right? Now, this is a weird habit, but I'm going to tell it to you anyway because this is just what I do. And it might help you. When I ask questions like that, and it depends on how deep you get with me when it comes to training, but a lot of times when I'm asking a question, I'm going to assume that the answer is there. So I'll say, you're advertising on the internet right now, right? What's weird is that when I'm on the phone, I actually shake my head yes. I know the answer to the question, and I'm actually walking around my office saying, you're advertising on the internet right now, right? And I'm like nodding my head. Okay? Now, I don't know if that helps with my tonality and pace and structure of that line. It may. But in person, right, we may do that. Okay? So for me, it's just kind of like a habit. That's just what I do. And I do a lot of weird stuff when I'm talking on the telephone. When I just want to see if you had 5 minutes to share an idea with you, my hands are up near my chest and I'm shaking them. Like, not like wildly, like a crazy lunatic, but like, think about how you would be like if you had something that was like no big deal, right? Maybe it's just a New York thing, I don't know. But if I'm asking somebody something that's like no big deal, my hands are up and I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, no big deal. Like, you mind if I borrow the car for 5 minutes? No big deal, right? And it's kind of like a disarming type stance, right? So I do that when I'm on the phone, and a lot of great salespeople do. They kind of act it out when they're doing it, even as if the person is right in front of them, even when they're not. All right, so next one here. You're advertising on the internet right now, right? Yes, I am. Okay, great. How's that going for you? Let them talk. Well, crappy. I don't know. Whatever they say. And then you're going to react to it quickly. We went over that before. Don't get off into a big, long tangent about it. Just react quickly so they know that you're listening to them, and then be done with it. So this next line confuses a lot of people, and I want to explain it before I go into it. This pitch here is specifically designed for the Google review stuff that we do. It's also, believe it or not, the same exact, literally word for word, script that I use to generate business for my Facebook ad agency. It's the same script that I use to build LeadLoop.net into a nothing company, started from scratch in late 2015, to a 7-figure business in under 18 months. So this is how we did it. We booked appointments this way, exactly like you see here. It's literally word for word, and that's why this line is there. So if we're doing Google review stuff, how do we say 20 or 30 new customers per week without having to invest any new money whatsoever? How do we do that? Well, we do that and justify it by the numbers on the survey that we talked about. Okay, so we're going to tie together this script and the presentation, which is coming up in the next video. And that's where you'll kind of understand what that line is all about when we get to the presentation. Because we're going to say things like 85% of people trust online reviews as much as a personal recommendation. So if you had 85% of your customers coming into your business that were basically like people that were referred by their brother, sister, cousin, mother, uncle, do you think your business would go up or go down? We're going to say things like that, right? So we know that we're going to be able to get them more business because of the Google review stuff. And the only thing that businesses care about is revenue. That's it, okay? Now, they can say things like, oh, I care about the earth, and I care about I'm not going to sell guns to 18-year-olds because that's a bad thing. And you may think it's a bad thing, and you may think it's a good thing. I don't know. I personally think it's a terrible thing, and I've never shopped at Dick's Sporting Goods or Field & Stream again in my life. I hate them. But the bottom line is the reason why they do that is not because they don't want to sell guns to 18-year-olds. The reason why they do that is because they believe that that's going to make them more money in the long term. People buy Yellow Pages ads because they believe that Yellow Pages is going to bring them more money. People buy Facebook ads because they believe Facebook is going to bring them more money. People buy SEO services because they believe SEO is going to bring them in more money, right? They're going to buy the Google review stuff from you, or whatever you decide to sell with this, doesn't really matter. They're going to buy that from you because some way, somehow, you convince them that your service is going to increase their revenue. You have to understand that, okay? Now, again, we can talk all, California-ish, and we can sit down in a big circle and chew on some mushrooms and do all that stuff and hum and yell and light incense and talk about how great the world is and everything else. But the bottom line, businesses care about money. That's just the truth. You don't have to like it, but it is what it is, okay? Amazon cares about money. Your local bakery cares about money. Your local hardware store cares about money. Apple cares about. That's all it is. That's all it is. Everything else is just a facade. All right? It's all about the money. If somebody ever tells you I'm doing this because it's my turn, it's my time to give back to the world, and they're charging you for it, they're lying to you. Okay, now if it's their part, if they want to give back to the world, that's amazing, right? Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and whatever. Like, that's all good. But if you go to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, I don't know what the hell they do, but whatever they do, if you go to that foundation, they're not going to charge you for the stuff, right? If you go to Habitat for Humanity, they're not going to charge you for what they do. So they're actually giving back to the world. If somebody says, the reason why I'm launching this product is because I've made so much money on the internet and I'm trying to give back to the world, they're lying to you. Businesses care about money, and people are afraid to say that. So when we go here and we say we're going to bring you, we're going to teach you or whatever, 20 to 30 new customers per week without having to invest any new money whatsoever, the reason why we say that is because that's what they care about, and we can justify that line in our presentation by showing them things like 85% of people trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations, and so on and so forth. And we'll go through that when we tie it together in the next video. So how do we say that line? Okay, we say that line by saying this. How's that going for you? Blah, 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 whatever. Facebook ads, they're terrible. They're not making us any money. Okay, yeah, it's tough for small businesses. A lot of people lose money on Facebook, but if you do it the right way, it actually works pretty well. So let me ask you this. If I was able to show you a way where you can get 20 to 30 new customers per week, listen to the change here, without having to spend any new money whatsoever, change, you'd at least be willing to listen to me, right? Okay, now let me say that again, going through it without pointing out the changes. Let me just go through the whole line. So let me ask you this. If I was able to show you a way where you can get 20 to 30 new customers per week without having to invest any new money whatsoever, you'd at least be willing to listen to me, right? So let me ask you this. If I was able to show you a way where you can get 20 to 30 new customers per week without having to invest any new money whatsoever, you'd at least be willing to listen to me, right? Right? That's how it's said. Okay? Now, the rest of this is kind of, I don't want to say BS because it's important. It's not BS. It's important. The whole pitch is important. If it was BS, it wouldn't be there. But the bottom line is all this stuff down here depends on what goes on before it, right? So, great, what day works better for you, Tuesday or Thursday? Well, if I'm up here and I say, just want to see if you had 5 minutes, maybe Tuesday or Thursday, so I can share an idea with you, and the guy's like, yeah, Tuesday's awesome. Then I'm not going to come down here and say what day's better for you. That's ridiculous, right? He already said Tuesday. So we have to make sure that we remember what's going on here. If he says, if I say, just want to see if you had 5 minutes, maybe Tuesday or Thursday, so I can share an idea with you, and he's like, yeah, Tuesday at noon is perfect. Well, then I'm not going to go down and ask him what time he wants to meet. That would be ridiculous. I'm not going to ask him what day he wants. So the bottom part here, these two lines, let me see where my mouse is here. These two lines here kind of depend on what happens in the beginning. All right. We always want to make sure that we get the person's email address. So great. One last thing before I let you go, just so we're on the same page on Tuesday, I'm going to be sending you over some information about myself and my company. What's your best email address? Do not qualify the line at all. Please, please don't do that. Okay, what do I mean by qualifying the line? A lot of times when people ask a question, when they're trying to get information from somebody, they qualify it by giving them a reason beyond the actual reason. That just adds to the skepticism, let's say. So some people might say, let's read this line again. Some people might say, great, one last thing before I let you go, just so we're on the same page on Tuesday, I'm going to send you over some information about myself and my company. What's your best email address? And I promise I won't spam you. I won't send you anything that you're not supposed to get. I'll only email you the information that I promise, and I promise I will not share your information with anybody, and no one will ever have your email address, and your identity won't be stolen, and no one will buy cars in your name. I promise, I promise, I promise. Please, 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 give me your email address if you don't mind, and if you do mind, don't give it to me. And then people come to me and they say, why don't I get email addresses? Well, because that's what you're saying, right? And I hear it all the time, and it's funny. I do some mortgage companies all the time, and they think I'm some kind of like wizard. And I'm not. I'm just the average person that just reads a piece of paper really well because I've been doing it for a long time. I was at a mortgage company, and this happens so many times I can't even name them. But I was at a mortgage company recently, and I was training them on the phone script that I wrote for them. And we got to the Social Security number question. And before I train anybody on anything, when I do any kind of consulting work or one-on-one work or group coaching or whatever, I will always tell them, I want to hear you talk before I do any kind of training. So I'll listen to your calls first. So these people were having a problem getting Social Security numbers. And the reason why they were having problems, I was listening to the calls, was the people would go up to them, the salespeople would call, and they would get through the whole application to get to the Social Security number part, and they would say, I know that there's a lot going on with like identity being stolen and things happening here, but just so you know, we have an SSL certificate on our website, which means nothing, by the way. We have this security in place, we have that security in place, so all your information is safe with us. And I do need your Social Security number for credit purposes, and if you don't feel comfortable giving it over the phone, I can come to your house and we could do it that way. But if you do feel comfortable giving it over the phone, then I could take it now, run your credit, and we'll be all set to go, and we could close this loan in the next 7 to 10 days. How would you like to proceed from here? Now, that's not word for word, but that's like kind of what they were saying, right? And I was listening to this for a good 4 or 5 hours, 100, 200, 300 calls, whatever it was, and over and over and over. They're like, why don't you come to the house? Nah, I don't really feel comfortable about my credit score is 700. It'll be fine. Just do it that way, and if it comes back differently, then we'll change it. No one was getting them. They maybe out of 100 and 200 calls, they got like 5, right? So I'm like, okay. So I went back in the afternoon after lunch, and I'm like, let me just give this a crack and see what happens. And I knew exactly what was going to happen. And again, they all looked at me like I was some kind of mystical figure because I was able to get literally everyone's Social Security number besides one person out of 40 calls that I made. How did I do it? I went through the whole entire application. When I got to the Social Security number, I literally said, what's your social? 46374, blah, 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 blah. They just spit it out. Why? Because I just said, what's your Social Security number? Or what's your social? And if somebody said to me, why do you need that? Ma'am, you're getting a house. I mean, what are we supposed to do? Am I supposed to just trust you? You're getting a home. You're refinancing your home. The bank is giving you $450,000. What's your Social Security number? Very simple, right? And they're all like, oh, how does he do that? I just ask a question. Believe it or not, I asked the question as it's written on the paper that I gave you, and shocking, they answer it. So why don't you just give that a shot, right? So when you get to the email question, don't say, well, I'm not going to spam you. I'm not going to say blah, 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 blah. What's your email address? And you'll be shocked when people say, joe.ford@gmail.com. Don't email that guy because I don't know who it is. Just made it up off the top of my head. But you'll be shocked when they just give it to you. If you try to qualify it, all you're doing is bringing up objections that they didn't even think of. We're not going to spam you. Shouldn't have said that because I didn't even think that you were going to do that. Why would I ever think that you would do that? You're calling me about Google reviews, so why would you spam me with random stuff? Wow. that doesn't even make any sense. But now that you said it, now they're not going to say all of that, right? But now that you said it, now I'm thinking about it. So maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should protect my information. Oh, and Mark Zuckerberg was in front of Congress the other day, and he gave out all the stuff and all the Facebook stuff. And I don't really understand it, but I know it was bad because he was in front of it. So maybe I should just keep my information on lockdown for now. You know what? Maybe I shouldn't even do the Google review thing at all. Maybe I shouldn't even go to the appointment because of all this privacy stuff that's going on. Right? You open up a can of worms that you can never shut again. So literally, what's your email address? And he gives it to you. Okay? All right. We went over the objection already, so that's pretty easy. You could say this at any point in a script, at any time, and it answers everything that comes in. It doesn't matter what it is. I went through the examples already, so it doesn't really matter. I don't have to do it again. It doesn't matter what they say. Right now is a bad time. I'm playing with my kids. Perfect. It's funny that you say that. I would never expect you to take time away from your kids to listen to me talk. That's why I wanted to talk to you on Tuesday or Thursday for 5 minutes so I could share an idea with you which day is better for you. Doesn't matter what they say. You can always answer it with that question. That's specifically for appointments, though. I have rebuttals like that for sales calls, which we're not going to get into here because we have the presentation coming up next. And we'll go into a little bit of rebuttal handling in the presentation. But the bottom line is you're not going to get really any resistance whatsoever to this. I mean, I haven't, from the people that I've taught this to and showed this to, and internally at our company, that's one of the hardest things we have, believe it or not. It really is, and I know it sounds weird, but when I'm training new people, I have to literally make stuff up that never happens to teach them how to handle objections, because there's none. There's really none. So again, come to the Q&A and anything that you hear, any problem that you have, or any objection that you want to have answered, or you want to challenge me. Like maybe you don't believe me. Maybe you've been through the ringer a few times with Warrior Plus offers or JV offers that didn't live up to the hype or whatever, quote unquote, right? Whatever it is, didn't work for me. Challenge me. I'm the only person that has ever said that, I think. Challenge me live in front of an audience, and I guarantee you that I'll let anybody talk. And I'll guarantee you that I will answer any objection that you can come up with. Anything. It doesn't matter what it is. Okay? So, that's it for this call. Hope you enjoyed it. I know the audio is a little weird because I'm on my headset, but it is what it is. That's just how, when I'm on the telephone, and I wanted to simulate it as best I possibly could. When I'm on the telephone, this is how I do it. So, again, I wanted to get that energy and that emotion that I have when I'm on the phone in the video so that you guys can hear exactly how I say what I say. All right, that's it for this one. If you have any questions, please let us know.